Our next contestant is Warren. Okay, so there's no more balloons, so go ahead and go.
Hi beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about how to not be a loser and how to get rid of this mentality if you have one. As I played in the previous video, these self-depreciating comments and content, while people put this type of stuff out with the hopes that it will kind of, I guess, open people's eyes to their plight and take pity upon them, constantly putting out content where you are highlighting your flaws, talking about how disadvantaged you are, disenfranchised, talking about how no one likes you, is going to do the opposite effect of what you're hoping for, and is actually going to repel people from seeing your worth. Because all you're really doing is highlighting your flaws and centering your flaws instead of centering your strengths, whatever they may be. And the fact of the matter is, as I've said many times on this channel, not everyone is going to find you attractive, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. You don't like everyone, you don't find everyone attractive, and so, the same thing applies to other individuals. Memberships are now live on this channel. Click the link in the description box to sign up to receive access to exclusive content and perks. One of the things that drew me to the exotical space, a year ago I started my channel, and then even before then, when I was engaging with the content, one of the things that I liked about this space and similar creators is that it's on our strengths. And we acknowledge that we are not perfect. We acknowledge that we have shortcomings and flaws, but strategize to find ways to improve ourselves, whether that's through privilege stacking, looks maxing, psychoanalysis of yourself, so being introspective, embracing dark femininity, doing shadow work, whatever it may be. One of the things that I like about this space, and obviously there are many people, this channel has grown to just over 9,000 subscribers in under a year, which is amazing. Thank you so much for your support. And on other channels, there is rapid growth in this space as well, which means that people align with the messaging being a winner, rather than the messaging that we hear in other spaces catered towards Black women, where it's kind of we focus on our flaws and we highlight our flaws with hopes that people will take pity on us and kind of be like, you know what, that's true. Yeah, you are downtrodden. I see your plight, but no, Black women, don't internalize that, and you should empower yourself. So pretty much this messaging exists to, I guess, compel others to uplift us and to empower Black women, but we're not seeing that happen. And if you haven't achieved your goal by now, the Black women's empowerment space has been around for at least 10 years, just roughly throwing out a number. If you haven't achieved your goal of, and I'm not even referring to the young lady that was in the clip at the beginning of the video, because I don't even know if she is BWE, but just in general, if you haven't achieved your outcome, your objective by now of looking to the masses, right? Highlighting your flaws with hopes that the masses would step in and validate you and say, no, none of that's true. We see you and we see your worth and we're allies. Then maybe you need to reevaluate the type of messaging that you're putting out, because they say that doing things over and over with the hopes that it will give you different results is madness. And it's true. The constant self-depreciating content and reinforcing the belief themselves that, being an unambiguous Black woman is an automatic deficit. Like, how is that empowering? And obviously this does not apply to all content creators. I know that it should be pretty self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to make this disclaimer, but there are some people who, maybe they're slow, maybe they like to troll, but they'll call it out and be like, not all. So there you go, for the not all crew. There are some unambiguous Black women, dark-skinned content creators who do center and who are kind of following the exotical model of saying, no, I'm going to do away with this victim mentality. I am going to highlight that I am that girl, that women who look like me, we are the shit. And I'm going to tell you why, so that you can show up in real life being the shit, and, we can have a collective united front together. Maybe before like a couple years ago, especially during the pandemic, when people were kind of more left leaning, more aligning with like the Black Lives Matter messaging and DEI type of messaging, maybe you would see more people in the comments like validating this and saying, no, we see you. I like black girls. I'm attracted to dark skinned black girls. But now people are kind of moving away from that and saying like, fuck that. First of all, you do have people who will stand beside you and validate you. But the constant complaining is almost as if you're saying like, oh, I don't see this, like this doesn't exist, this validation. Or it's almost as if you're begging for more, when in reality, it's your responsibility to center and validate yourself. And people are getting tired of it. It is an emotional burden have to validate someone else's experience when they should be doing that on their own. Like, think about that one friend that's insecure and that's constantly fishing for compliments. You probably either are tired of her when you see her name pop up on your phone when she calls you, you probably roll your eyes, or you probably cut her off because that's too much. And the same thing in this creator's comments underneath this video that she posted. You can see this kind of same sentiment where people are like, okay, fuck it. Like, you want to be a victim? Go ahead and be a victim. We're going to play along with it and we're going to like go back to trolling you. And some people are even standing down and saying, no, I'm going to correct you on this type of victim mentality of black women and darker skinned black women in particular not being desirable, or the general belief that, you know, we're not desired. That's false. A number of people pointed out in the comments that this individual, her being a dark-skinned black woman, is not the issue. I didn't see not one person comment and be like, yeah, that's true. Dark-skinned women are gross. Yeah, you know, you darkies are ugly. I didn't see not one person say that. And obviously TikTok will remove abusive comments if, you know, maybe that was there in the past. But even without saying in so many words, I didn't see one person say, yeah, I would never date a black girl, or I would never date a dark-skinned black woman. But they did, a number of recurring comments said, no, your issue is not that you have dark skin. And they're probably implying that, you know, you need to focus on your weight. Because regardless of how you look, whether you are light skin or dark skin, it is a known fact that you generally look better when you are smaller. And obviously, being smaller, the definition of that varies. We all hold our weight differently. We all have different body compositions of how we distribute our weight. But for the most part, you look better when you are slimmer because your facial features and your bone structure is more visible when you have less fat on your face. And that would be the case of this young woman. And I pointed this out in a previous video, but if you look at photos of her when she was smaller, she looked better because you could see her facial features. And the same thing would apply for a woman if she's light skinned, mixed race, white, Asian, blue, or green. If you look at Meghan Trainor, you look at Meghan Trainor before and you look at her now, you would not, I didn't even know that Meghan Trainor was Meghan Trainor until someone pointed it out. I know Meghan Trainor of her kind of like putting out like the typical women's empowerment, you know, I'm a strong woman, I have a great personality type of music when she was bigger, because no shade, but that's the only, for lack of a better word, that's the only thing that she could offer in that space was her great personality, the fact that she's confident, and not so much her looks, because let's face it, in that industry, especially for white women, white people have stronger, stricter guidelines for being slim as opposed to black people. The black community is much more lenient and accepting and actually expects you to be a bigger woman in the black community as opposed to white people. If you are big as a white person, you will be shunned. Whether they explicitly say that or not, you will be looked down upon. And so Meghan Trainor, being a white woman, I haven't heard her put out any music since she lost weight, but I bet you if she were to put out an album, she's going to talk about how sexy she is. She's going to be up there shaking some ass. She's going to be in some skimpy outfits showing off her brand new body, and rightfully so, because Meghan Trainor looks amazing now. Not to say that she was less than of a person when she was bigger, obviously not, she's the same person. But now she can really allow that confidence to shine through that she was singing about when she was bigger. So anyway, that loser mentality, like that can exist in a number of ways. It's not just with dark skin, it can exist again with weight, and it can exist with just your self-esteem, because there are many women who are beautiful. Like, you already are that girl, you already have the body, you already have the looks and talent, But for some reason, because you can't see it, you adopt this mentality of you being inadequate or you being less than. I don't know, maybe I guess to level the playing field. We see that a lot in the Black community, where there is this huge fascination with humbling Black women as a way to make them feel less than.
That's why Black men don't fuck with Black women, because you guys are too bougie. Stress 6'1", baby. My fucking fiance is Asian because I can't stand y'all Black bitches, but I love my 3 Black daughters. Get your shit together. My homie told me, personality will get you so far in life. That's ridiculous.
Thank you. Please get that man away from us.
Get your shit together. God, she a bitch.
All I did was sit here and be a Black woman. All we did was sit here and be Black.
So yeah, as you can see in that clip, those 2 Black girls, one was like a brown-skinned woman, one was a light-skinned woman. They were just sitting there minding their own business, feeling themselves. They both looked really, really nice. And the guy was triggered by the fact that they were confident Black women, because we expect in the Black community, Black women to not be confident as a way to level the playing field and validate loser Black women and loser Black men. And I've heard this so many times where it's like, you know, Black men, they don't have as much as you, so you don't want them to feel bad. So pretty much dumb down your credentials, dumb down who you are, so that he doesn't feel inadequate and, you know, he doesn't feel intimidated by you, with hopes that it'll encourage him to realize his full potential. And it's the same thing with loser Black women, where it's like, oh, you know, your cousin, she's not as slim as you, she's not as pretty as you, she's not as accomplished as you, so, you know, try to like tone down when we go out for dinner, for example. Try to tone down your outfit so that she doesn't feel bad. When you pick on yourself, you give others permission to pick on you, which is what happened in Milka's comment section. There were people who would pick on her or just like laugh and not even give her the validation that she was looking for. And people like this will then turn around and post another video crying about anti-Black women's sentiment and be like, see, you guys are so anti-Black, it's disgraceful. But it's like, you put out the bait and people took it. Like, stop baiting people into dissing you. Some of you, I'm honestly convinced that many Black women have a humiliation kink, where you keep doing these behaviors. You keep almost putting out the bait, seeing what you can catch. And then when you catch something, you're surprised. Like, oh, see, there's evidence that there's anti-Black women sentiment out there. See, I knew it. When the fact of the matter is, people will troll regardless of your race and gender, if you give them permission to troll. If you put the bait out there, someone will take it and troll, because that's what humans like to do. So if you don't want people to come for your looks, it's one thing if people come for you unprovoked, that's another thing, and you should stand 10 toes down and defend yourself. But if you're putting out, if your entire content is like this, and you want to do that, that's fine. But then don't turn around and cry and complain about people being anti-Black when you keep putting out rage bait content, so to speak, and getting the outcome that you desired. And I really don't know what it is about darker skinned women in particular, because you don't really see like quote unquote unattractive light brown or even non-Black women making these comments as much as darker skinned women do. They tend to just show up as their best selves, and you can either take it or leave it, which is a mentality that you should have in life in general, because again, not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone's going to align with your messaging, and that's totally fine. Like, life still goes on. Focus on being your best self and aligning with people who can relate to you. So if you hang around other Black women who have a victim mentality, you keep doing self-depreciating talk and behaviors, you constantly highlight your flaws as a way to show that like you're relatable, when actually like you're not showing that you're relatable, you're showing that you lack boundaries and self-awareness. Because if you notice, when you do stuff like that, people very seldom reciprocate and talk about their issues. Stop doing that and start aligning yourself with like-minded people. And sometimes that may mean that you're by yourself for a while until you're able to find that crowd of people who think like winners. But my mentality is, I'd rather be by myself working towards my goals quietly than being in a room full of losers for the sake of company. because you are the sum of the people that you are around. And I want to, when people mention my name in rooms, I want them to be like, yeah, that's that, she's that girl. All right, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think about this one down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.